What's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be checking out Slipways. This is a game we covered about 8 months ago, so some people might be scratching their heads and being like, why are we diving back in here today? Well, the game just updated. It's in 1.2 now. And so they've pushed out a content update that adds a whole bunch of stuff to the game. There's a fully fledged campaign going on. They've added quirks to some of the galaxies to give you sort of a randomized modifier on each of your runs. But if you've never seen the game before, this is a strategy game, a strategy empire building sci-fi game where you are responsible for building the warp gates in between planets. So you've basically taken an empty galaxy and you connect it all via commerce and trade and what people need and what upgrades you have, and it's honestly become one of my favorite relaxation games. I play this game a ton and have continued to play it over the last 6 months. What happens to be the case is normally in my position, I cover so many games on like a weekly basis that I don't really stick with all of them because I need to like brain dump and get to the next title and start mashing it out for a couple of hours before I can record my coverage. And so I'm in this never-ending cycle of playing like the first 3 or 4 hours of a game and never getting further. Slipways, that would not be the case. I adore this game. In fact, I would go so far as to say it's probably my favorite game of 2021. It's a very, very remarkably elegant, remarkably smooth, easy to learn, hard to master game. And most games use that as kind of like a marketing buzz term, easy to learn, hard to master. Slipways actually hits it like right on the nose and actually delivers on that marketing promise. So if after watching this episode you wanted to get the game for yourself, I'll have a link for you down below in the description so that you can check that out. You can also find a link to my Discord and my Twitch stream just in case you wanted to hang out live any day of the week. There's a pretty good chance that I'll stream this game at some point, although I haven't really penciled it into the schedule. Let's start a game and dive on in. We're going to be doing a standard run since that's the main bulk of the game, is just infinitely sort of repeatable standard runs that are randomized for replayability. There is, however, an endless mode just in case you want to build an empire up until the point where it lags out your computer. You can go to the campaign mode, which gives you some storyline context to like what's going on in the galaxy and why it all matters. You can also do ranked runs to compete against other players on a set map. Okay. I like that spot. It's a greenish color. I only play greenish areas in the galaxy. I don't know why. I just like the color green. I'm a man, a fully grown man of many years who still has a favorite color like a 9-year-old and still just doggishly adheres to that. It's sort of greenish. I'll take it. There are special areas of the galaxy where it'll light up with little sparkles if you go there. Those are areas that have kind of special conditions, but you cannot play those until you've beaten the campaign, and since I never really had any interest in the campaign, I never really got access to them. Down here is one of the new features. You can enable quirks on your sector of the galaxy if you want to, so you can make it such that it is not possible to get robots on remnant planets, and then weak slip space, and so slip space overload starts 15% sooner. Rough galaxy. I lost my happy green color. Now I gotta get it back. Where'd you go? Green colorino. That's kind of greenish. I'll take it. We missed like a really dark green one. At the beginning of the game, you're going to have to pick a council of elder races. So humanity is expanded out into the stars, and the other aliens are kind of nice. Like, this is kind of like, I don't know, like an early Star Trek look at the galaxy. It's very, very optimistic about the sci-fi future. All the aliens we've met are nice people, and they all just want to help us thrive because they are thriving. We have the Vittori. The Vittori are all about perfection. Basically, they are super rational, hyper-scientific, and they are about the path to enlightenment and also perfection. The Bakar are all about exploitation, mining, and basically taking everything from a location that you possibly can. The Silphid are all about industrial, and so they basically have lots of things that boost up your production and make you more efficient. We have the Dender, who are all about life and the preservation thereof. Most of their bonuses have to do with making food-producing or human-producing planets more lush and verdant. We have the Aphorians. These guys are commerce and trade. They're basically kind of like, what's his name, from Deep Space Nine. But anyways, these guys right here are all about stacking them Quatloos. I always randomize this because I find it more fun that way, so that's what we're going to do. Every single race that you choose or you randomize is going to give you a plate of technology. Once you actually go into the game proper, it's going to randomly select from this grouping of technologies up here to populate your scientific tech tree. And then on top of that, we also get perks from all of these races. So reciprocity, every time two-way trade happens, you get 10 bucks. We've got novelty traders. I'm going to take that. We get artifact trading on remnant planets. You won't know exactly what that means right now, but I'll explain it once we get into the game. We've got growth. So planets producing humans or food have no upkeep. And any planet with a planetary project gets 35% more trade income. If we had the Vittori, I'd probably take that, but for right now, not worth it. We have prospectors, which makes our empty signals become asteroids and increases their value. Or we've got geology, which allows us to establish mines on 80% of lava, desert, and ice ball planets. We're going to take that one. I prefer to take stuff that increases the amount of options on what I can do with a planet, just kind of bald-facedly. Like, I don't even hesitate about it, just because it always sucks to have a really good production chain going, and then hitting sort of a snag or like a dead area because there's like one thing you're missing once you extend away from the central empire. And so this kind of helps alleviate that and smooth it over and like pour a salve on it. So now that we've got our perks selected, it's time for us to actually play the game proper. So let's get on in here and see what they've given us. The beginning of this game is very, very RNG based. Sometimes you get like a fantastic galaxy that's just like perfect. And then other times you get galaxies that are just barely playable, where you're really, really going to have to struggle for every inch. It just kind of depends. You know, every game plays out a little bit differently. I really like to scan pretty much everything in my starting area, if I can, just to make sure I know what I have available. Just kind of like in the neighborhood, I guess. And so we've got a Terran planet right here. That's usually where I like to start. So what they're going to need is food, which means that they are going to need to get food from somewhere. We can get robots and algae over here. That'll give the food. However, without knowing what these two are, we're not really going to know. But let's go through the UI real fast while we ponder this little puzzle in front of us. Up here in the top left, you've got your counselors and what level they are. As you play the game, they're going to give you quests. I highly recommend that you do those quests because at the end of the game, you're going to be given a score. And the score is really what you're playing for. And so anyways, every quest increases your score by like quite a lot, and every quest that you don't accomplish hurts your score. We've got our Imperial Happiness right here. This is literally just the happiness of your empire, how well you are doing at supplying things to people where they need them. Your score is multiplied by this at the end of the game, so this tends to be the #1 place where players either gain or lose points. 105% happiness is great. 94% happiness, not so much. That's a big dent in your score. We've got our science over on this side. This is a currency that we use to go to this menu right here and buy unlocks that will make our lives easier in various ways. And then we have our currency, which is how much money we have. This is actually important. In 50 hours, I've never gone negative on money. I did it the other night. I wasn't paying attention, and I was just having a good time connecting planets and trying to figure out what everybody needed and buying technologies, and I went negative, and it instantly game overed me. So that actually is a lose criteria that I never hit in like 40 or 50 hours of playing the game, and I learned that the other day. It was very, very specifically a problem one time. All right, so what do I want to do here? Well, we don't have a load of options. They're going to need minerals and food over here, which is a little bit challenging. So I think our best option... Normally, I do not use Terran planets for food harvesting, but taking a look, I think this may be one of our only options right here because this initial layout is a little bit rough. So, every planet has inputs and every planet has outputs. This game is quite literally all about connecting inputs to outputs. You give this planet robots, it gives you 2 food. You give this food to another planet, it will give you something else. And you basically use that to make giant looping chains that effectively supply everybody with everything that they need. Now, after all the time I've spent playing this game, I'm not going to promise that I'm good at it. So I apologize if I make any logistical errors or mess up, you know what I mean. But it kind of is what it is. Okay, so we wanted food over here. And then from right there, I think we can get algae from right there. Yeah, I think that's our play. So we need robots to make food over here. And the robots will come from the metal that comes from this planet. So we've got metal, we've got robots. Then over here, we need food and we need algae. So there's our food. And then if we have humans going to this primordial world, we can get the algae that we needed in order to make this successful. We can then actually, let me scan first before I block off this little runway here. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that there was really nothing that I could do right there before I went all crazy with it. But we've got a mine over there. Oh, they need humans over here. My bad. Totally didn't notice. That one's on me. That one was a logistical failing on my part. Okay, so we can loop this back over to here. This planet can go up to there to mine, I think. Let's go ahead and clear out. Oh, we got tasks. All right, so get an ocean planet to successful, get a human-producing planet to successful, explore a designated area, which is kind of in the direction that we're going already. If you do these guys' quests, it levels you up in the eyes of that faction, and you get access to more cool stuff that they allow you to do. So I'm going to go ahead and we will get a human-producing planet up to successful, and then we will explore the area over there. We're kind of headed in that direction anyways. Now, there's two solutions that we can play here. And I'm a fan of one and not really the other. So we can send robots to this ocean planet to turn it into a food-producing planet. Or we can send food over here and then connect it to that planet right there in order to supply ore. And then we'll have humans. And then we can maybe make a research base like right over here somewhere. Kind of depends. Both options have their merits. Like I'm okay with both options. But for right now... Can you reach that over there? You cannot reach that over there. Weak, dude. That would have been an easy solution to a problem that I'm currently facing. All right, well, I think I'm going to go with, let me see what this is right here. So what do we have right here? We've got a mine planet. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Because these guys need exports to go out anyways in order for us to kind of be happy. And so I need that asteroid to go away. And then we'll put that right there. Happiness is currently at 98%. So we do want to keep an eye on that as we sort of push out into the galaxy. I would like to get people out this way, if I can. I'm going to have robots connect to there for food production. And we've already done one of our tasks. There you go. So that's a nice early win. You love to see it. I need to get science set up sooner rather than later. But I don't know exactly how I want to accomplish that. I'm thinking from right here is the way to do it. So we send them over here to mine. And then we maybe have this produce goods. There we go, and we completed their task. Normally, I wouldn't make that play right there to turn this into a goods producer. Goods producers are kind of dead nodes. Like, only human-producing planets need goods. And so you really only ever want to use a forge world to make goods. If you've got a forge world in a spot where there's like... So, you've got a forge world in a spot where it can send all of its goods to human planets, basically. However, we had a quest that I wanted to complete, and so I figured I'd knock it out real fast. I'm going to need to... I don't want to use... So we need to connect to this. So there we go. That's 3 free science. This used to be a residential space station. Its life support systems are curiously similar to what we would need to live here. We can scavenge it for money. We can restore it and settle into it, which means that if I feed it food, it'll give me humans, but I don't have any reasonably reliable food production things right now to actually pump into that. We can also make it so that if we send a human, it just turns into free money, but we haven't leveled up the Aphorians yet to do it. So I'm just going to sit on that one for a little bit. But what I'd like to do is I think I'll go to right here. We'll salvage that for a big 30-buck infusion. And then I want that to go right there. And now we've got our first research station set up. So research stations are basically how you generate your science. You can study just about anything in the game, except for, I think, food and goods. You can study water, you can study algae, you can study minerals, you can study robots, you can study circuits. It doesn't matter, but you kind of want to link them up such that you have more than one of them in here, because you can really only ever set up one research base for each type of product. any more than that, and you start to get like really severe diminishing returns. And so anyways, that tends to be why I like to set up my research nice and early, because it's nice to have a little trickle of research income from the beginning so that you can actually get technologies while they actually still matter and can actually still help you out. We need to find some place to pipeline all this food to. Unfortunately, it looks like we've got a dead zone over here. Big dead zone. Gross. That's really unfortunate. I wish that that had not happened. I extended out with a plan in mind. I had this food right here just in case there was like an actual colonizable human world on this side that we could use to start a new production chain. But pretty much literally everything over here is useless to us. If that planet wasn't there, I could sneak it in right there, but until we find a way to deal with that planet, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to help us all together that much. Let's push in another direction. So we can scan over here and just kind of see what we have. We've got more mineral worlds, actually, weirdly enough. Okay. What do we have over here? Wow. I don't think I've ever seen so many primordial worlds. That really sucks. Primordial worlds are kind of useless most of the time. They are occasionally useful if they're in, like, the right spot. But, man, we are really wasting some time right now trying to figure out what exactly it is that we can do. You send a human over here to produce water, but that doesn't really advance our goals in any meaningful way. Okay, so we've got ourselves a leap before you look situation. It's pretty much dead territory all around the edges. There's not much I can do with any of this, and what I could do is always blocked by a planet that's just directly in the way. So, we're going to have to get creative, and I see two potential spots where that creativity can reign. There's right here, and there's right here. Those are the two winners. I'm thinking up here is better, because we can go humans right there. We can get the ore they need from right there. From there, we can get the algae that they need from right there in order to make the food that they need right there. So there you go. We dug ourselves out of a considerable hole in that spot. But that still doesn't fix a lot of our problems. Like, we still need to find a way to connect these two branches of the empire. Oh, we have tasks, dude, and I'm just happily playing right now. Increase your production of goods by 2 units. Discover 13 new planets. Can definitely do that. Create a prosperous planet. That's pretty hard. So, in order to get a prosperous planet, you need to get it to this gold level. But not only that, you need to get all the planets around it to a gold level, and then you also need to overstock it with the 2 things that it wants, which means that normally your successful planets are already kind of embedded in the middle of another production chain, and in order to take them up to Prosperous, what I typically need is I need like 1 more planet in here to supply like an extra thing, and since it's already part of an established supply line, it's kind of hard to retroactively do that. And so I'll probably go with these 2 right here, and we'll just knock them out at our own leisure. Let's see if there's anything that produces water around here. That would be nice. Alas, no water-producing planets. Okay, well, we're going to send our last guy to go work in the mines over here, I guess, because that's just the sort of dystopian society that we are. Wow, really, really rough map layout. This is a really rough one. Good lord. They're not giving me anything to work with here. And it figures, too. Like, I play this game so much in my off time, and then every single time I record a game, dude, I always get the worst map. And it doesn't matter how many times I restart the recording. It doesn't matter how many times I try to redo it. You always get the worst results whenever you're recording. And it makes, all I can assume is that I have a very endearing relationship to the dark and vengeful RNG god Murphy. Nuffle just doesn't like me. Human planet over there. Nothing to supply it with, though. Wow. This sucks. We have, like, literally nothing to work with here. Like, I can make that into a human world. And then we make that into a water harvester. But that's really, like, the only thing that's jumping out at me right now as a potential option. $24 asteroid right there, and we've got some science ready to go. Maybe we'll get some good science out here that'll bail us out of our problems. Science can fix it. So we can get food processors that'll turn water or lichen, like algae, into food. We've got mineral seeding. I don't need that because I've already got that Bakar perk that already does the same thing for free. Geo-harvesting. For 3 more science, I can destroy planets. Let me take a look. So with these superconductors right here, what we can do is we can convert a arid and desert planet. So like these guys right here. If we can get circuits, we can convert them into power plants. And power plants, power is any resource you need it to be. It's a wild card. And so honestly, power plants can really, really help out sometimes. There's a couple of desert worlds that we could capitalize on to maybe jumpstart things in the eastern and the southwestern quadrant, but not enough to make me feel confident that it's the solution to all of our problems. They need water right here, so we might as well just take care of it. There we go. Hey, we got a Prosperous planet, dude. I should have taken the Prosperous quest. Damn it. Well, we've got our first Prosperous planet. And it's actually put us up over 100% happiness. I didn't even plan on that happening. I was just trying to solve problems in here. But that's really the remarkably elegant thing about this game, is that you accomplish goals while not actively attempting to seek out goals, if that makes sense. So, like, just by playing the game normally, in its natural ebb and flow, you will accomplish goals. Like, it's very rare that this game puts a goal in front of you that you've got to go out of your way to accomplish. Like, if you take quests, you will solve them at some point of your own volition just by moving things around the galaxy. All right, well, we got our first Prosperous planet. That's great, because that's going to give us a huge point infusion at the end of the game. I'm of the opinion that we should wait till the end of the year and we should get geo-harvesting so that we can destroy planets. We just, like, this entire area is like all planets I would rather get rid of. If I get rid of this guy right here, we're automatically, like, back in the money and back into play. And so, like, I think we just wait one more year. I know it's been, like, 10 years, and we're already, like, halfway through the game, and we haven't used, like, any of our... Oh, it didn't work because I was out of humans. It's weird. These little research spots, they don't actually use up a human, but you have to have a free human in order for them to activate. Otherwise, I could get my geo-harvesting right now, but that was a desperate attempt right there to see if maybe magically the game had stopped working the way that I know that it works. And, like, maybe it would throw me a freebie out of the kindness of its own heart. I think we're going to check right there. Okay, arid world, Arctic world. Yeah, geo-harvesting solves a lot of our problems here. I think that's what we're going to have to do. Okay, well, let's find something to do to pass the time while we wait for our one more research that we need. I suppose we'll just scout planets. Well, every time I find a planet that I want to do something with, there's a considerable downside and possible, like, happiness-tanking thing that may go wrong if I go after that particular option. Really got me by the short and curlies right now. Wish I didn't have to say it, but we are indeed. I think I have a plan. We just need geo-harvesting for it. But I think I see a link up that we can do no problem. Although the desert planet, there is the interesting opportunity. No, let's just not do it. I'm going to harvest this planet. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to harvest the ever-loving hell out of that planet. 'Tis the way. All right. Well, I don't really have anything that can go anywhere. But it's the new year, and we got our money, and we got our research, so now I can get geo-harvesting. So there we go. We can now destroy planets. Boom, boom. Bye-bye, planet. You used to exist right there. Now you no longer exist right there. I could have turned that into a power plant, but I feel like it wouldn't have worked with the overall thing that I'm trying to do here. So there's your food. We need you to produce circuits. There's our circuits. We've got to decide who we want to connect these circuits to. I think you, because that'll upgrade you to Prosperous. And so I feel like that's the win if I have to pick between these two that I'm going to send the circuits to. I'd rather send the circuits to them. However, that does leave us with an extra robot over here that we're not really using, doesn't it? It does. It does indeed. Okay, well, we've made it out to this part of the galaxy, which is what I wanted to do anyways. We also completed our Bakar task, which is rad as hell. So I'll take that. Can you shoot that gap right there? Oh, it's just out of range. Oh, dude, that would have been such a sweet little loop back. I would have loved it so dearly. So I think next we geo-harvest that guy right there. And then I think we get robots from right there. Yep, I think robots do it. And then I think we go over here to get water and algae. That's out of range, so I can't get there. There's nothing right there, so that's not entirely helpful. But since we have that, we can convert that into food, should we desire to do so. And I feel like that's an okay gambit. I don't hate it. That's out of range. I would have loved to have supplied the water right there. Unfortunately, I need some kind of range booster for my... I need a range booster for my Slipways. And alas, it actually looks like we have no range bonuses. So that's tough. That's real tough. We've got hyper lanes. That's nice. We've got slipstream relays, which is nice. I'm going to go ahead and take the thermal superconductors. That way I can supply computer chips to desert planets and arid planets and get some free energy to kind of fill in the things that people need. Over here, there's really nothing that I want to do with this. Like, that would be the only thing that I really would even maybe use it. So I'm just going to scavenge it for money. It's not a useful spot to be at. I think I'm going to keep building out in this direction and just kind of figure out what it is that we need. I've got food, so we can pretty easily make a colony right here. And then grab that real fast. That'll do a little bit of something for us. I can get water for both of these out right here. And that may have been the connection that we were waiting for, although I've still got a lot of just sort of ancillary metal laying around over here that I can't really do anything with, no matter how badly I'd like to. That's out of range, because I was going to oversupply them with metal. And we can get another colony right here, too, because we have both water and food. So there you go. We've covered that up as well. I haven't really done a lot of research in this playthrough, which is something that I kind of regret. I guess there's not really a ton of ways around it, though. If I turn that into a water producer, we could study water right here, and that would give us an extra, that would give us +6. Let's do that. I think you can study water. Indeed you can. Now, this has unfortunately locked him off from getting rid of his last biomass. Like, we are locking up a lot of production around here, which is semi-embarrassing, but I can kind of live with it. We can send goods over that way to make that one prosperous. If we can make one more planet prosperous around here, I'm pretty sure he'll go he'll go up to blue or whatever. Are they successful? Sorry, he'll go successful to prosperous. I've got my terminology mixed up. But we are kind of starting to integrate the grid over here now. Like, we're starting to pull things together. It just takes time, though. Like, this is an easy game to kind of just get lost in, which is actually what I love about it. This game was with me during, like, a really, really tough time in my life. And when I found myself, you know, awake at 4 and 5 in the morning, just, you know, lamenting how life was going and just trying to figure out how to solve my problems, this game kept me company. I think that's why it, like, occupies such a special place in my heart. Establish 4 more pairs with two-way trade. This last batch of quests is going to be kind of risky. Because if we make it to 34-26 without doing them, we lose score. If I was going to take anything, I would take population and metal, because those are, like, achievable at this juncture. Scan around a little bit for anything what might be useful. I think we're going to have to just kind of send them out to here and hope that they find something. Like, if not, that's okay. I'm not particularly enamored with this corner of the Empire anyways. Alas, I think the linchpin was with this planet, what the game wanted you to do, is the game wanted you to... I think it wanted you to make this into algae into food and then go into there. Sometimes with the layouts, you can tell what they wanted you to do in retrospect once you can see all the planets. But, like, when half of them are empty signals and it takes you time to probe, unfortunately, like, you got to keep moving. You got to keep some kind of momentum, otherwise you're not going to make it. Do I have anything that I can do over here? So I have this world right here, which can then go into there. Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll mine right here, and then we'll convert it into robots. If you're wondering what... So when you're going into blind tiles, I can give you some rough advice. If you're going into blind tiles and you're never quite sure what you should be producing, I find that food, robots, and humans, with kind of a lesser extent algae, tend to be the best things to have along the periphery of your empire. So robots turn into food on a lot of planets. Humans turn into, like, end goods that you need. So I find that those tend to be the things that I use the most. We've got enough for another research. Energy-driven industry. No. Slipway anchoring. Don't really care about money anymore. We're kind of past that phase of the game. You know, xenofoods may actually get us moving up here. I don't think it's the end-all, be-all solution to all of our problems, but being able to make food processors may help. So I'll take food processors. And the nice thing about the food processors is we can kind of use them. One of the things I like about the food processors is you can use them kind of as a poor man's slipway extender. So, like, there's a Terran planet up there. I want that Terran planet. Therefore, I'm going to get that Terran planet. You see what I did? Like, I used it as kind of like a long-range extender. Like, I didn't even really want the food processor. The fact that it created food was kind of like a byproduct and just sort of an extra perk. What I really wanted was to be able to connect all this together right here. But yeah, there's our empire. This game is called Slipways. I absolutely adore this game. I can't speak highly enough of it. This is a really fantastic little randomly procedurally generated strategy game, and I think you guys are really going to like it if you're into this sort of introspective gameplay. I will see you all later. Thank you for stopping on in. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so you don't have to. Today it was Slipways. Tomorrow it'll be something else. Thank you for hanging out with me.